Okay, good evening all. Can you hear me? Can somebody, unmute and just let me know, guys, if you can hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sajid, I cannot hear you though.
Oh, okay. Maybe my mic is not working.
Hello?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Somebody spoke just now. I can hear them as
Yeah,
well.
I can hear you. This is Suja, and I can hear you.
Hi, Suja.
Hi.
I think Trilok, Mr. Carey is speaker.
Suja, can you hear me? No?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, for some reason I can't hear you. So
So you can't hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Who is there? Suja?
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear Suja. Maybe Sajid, maybe I'm unable to hear you though.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you right now. Yeah, okay.
I can hear
Okay.
both of you.
All good.
So I think it's working. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, so my name is Kari, and this is about cybersecurity one, which is the defensive course. And this class is just a intro class where I will tell you details about the whole course and what we'll be covering and how we'll be covering and what timing we'll be covering at and who will be benefited, all those things. And in the intro class, I will go through most of the modules and speak a little bit about every module and how in depth we'll be going in each module. The aim of this class, why I have named it as defensive, is when you have a network. Let me add another slide. So here is the enterprise network, right? And there is an application running inside a enterprise network. And there are some bad actors outside the network and some good actors. So there are bad actors. There are some good actors also, right? And when you are inside designing your app, you have to think about the good, and you also have to think about the bad both. So because I want to draw that bad in a red. So bad. So when you're designing this, if you are thinking about your defensive way of designing your app, then you should be always thinking about how a bad guy can take advantage of your app and exploit it and get inside your network. That is the aim of the bad guy. How to escalate privilege, and how to get inside the network and act as a bad guy and take over the whole network. But when you are designing from inside, you have to know the best practices. So that way you can design your a robust app and save your app from the bad guys to compromise on your app. So that is the whole thing we'll be discussing about. So how you design a app sitting inside the network, and how you should think about the bad guy and follow the best practices and standards and design in such a way that there is a very less chance that the bad guy can take advantage and exploit your app and take over the whole network through your app. So that is this course is all about. To introduce myself, I have more than 20 years of security background. I started my career after when I was doing my MS in data and network security. That was my main focus, and the other focus along with that was the data analysis. So I integrated both the data analysis and the security into finding outliers. But I focus more on encryption and network protocols and application security. So we will be discussing about application security this whole course. So when we are speaking about application security, we'll be talking about we'll be taking help of Java code, and we'll be taking help of .NET, building some sample and simple applications. If you don't know about .NET and Java, don't worry about it because these are very simple class files that will be calling some functions just to make you understand. Because if I speak about, suppose say, hold on, if I speak about, suppose say, encryption, right? And if I have an encryption engine that takes an input and gives out an output, this data is in clear text, and this data is some kind of obfuscation, right? And you should not be able to read this data some gibberish. But if it is base64 encoded, you can see that okay, it has some alphabet, but you won't be able to read that. But how do you visualize this? If I just talk about the theory and walk you through the theory and how the things happen, you won't be able to visualize how things happen. That is the reason why I will take help of Java and .NET and take a clear text and put it through some simple Java class file, and which will act as an encryption engine and get the output here. I'm trying to add a note. Okay, for some reason note has frozen. That's all right. Sorry.
Kari, this is Sajid. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So I attended Mr. Cherry's virtualization class sometime back, and I have my background is whole infrastructure, basically Unix, and then later moved to the VMware and then the AWS and all those things. So will your class covers anything to do with the AWS or anything, any security related to virtualization or infrastructure, that kind of aspect at all?
Yeah. So I'll be covering network security. I'll be covering your data security, how you store data in your cloud, and what should be the best practice when you are using your data in cloud. How you should be generating the keys, and where you should be putting your keys, and how you should be accessing and not allowing anyone to access your private key, and what is the significance of private key, and what is the significance of your public key, and where and what should be used. So that you have proper knowledge. So because you have your company data, right?
Yeah, of course, yes.
And you want to keep this data secured as that of Experian. What happened, right? So suppose there are users who are trying to access this data, but then how do you allow these users? And how do you know that these users are, the right and privileged users who should have access to what kind of data? So we will go through a typical example of how a web security is set up, and what are the things that we should be doing in a web security. So I'll come through that when we go through each module. I'll go in detail what we'll be covering in each module. But I was talking about like how I'll be using and why I'll be using Java and .NET through this course, because I know maybe some people may get a little bit I won't say scary, but people might feel uncomfortable that, oh, I don't know Java, I don't know .NET, so maybe that this course is not for me. But trust me, I come from
yeah, that's exactly my scareness when you talked about Java and .NET. That's why.
Yeah. So the reason why I'll be covering using Java and .NET is just to give you a clear picture how things happen at the file level, at the network level, and you have to have this kind of theory knowledge to be, top of your game. And I interview people. I also I act as a very big part of the hiring process, and my CISO actually depends on my decision. So I know what people know, and I know how much we are in need of really skilled people, and how we don't find even. We took 4 months to find one guy, and if you are not on top of your game, then you may not score that interview. But to be top of your game, you have to know at least we lowered our bar to, if a person knows 10%, hire him or hire her, because there are no more people in the market with security background who are looking for a job. There is a real shortage of security people. Recently, I should not say this, but recently we had a very young guy who just has interest to work on this area, and we have also extended offer to him. So that's where the market is right now. Okay, having said that, so I will also, I think some problem with my. Just give me a second, guys. I will.
So Carrie, one more question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So with the background on the virtualization, you feel with the modules you cover in the course, we should be equipped with for getting into a security, at least entry level security position. We should have all the knowledge. I'm not saying that we'll get the job, but I'm saying we'll have all the knowledge to have the job, right?
You will have more than enough knowledge. Anyone who has joined this call, I'm sure they have heard about a certification as CISSP, right?
Yes, I heard a lot, and yeah.
Okay, yeah, but I think other than Sajid, if other people can get involved and ask questions, that would be nice. I can answer your questions. But yeah, CISSP, it is they say that it is an inch depth and a mile wide. So they cover certain aspect of what I'll be covering, but I'll be covering a mile depth and a mile wide, which means that we will drill down to the details, and also we will cover more than that is covered in CISSP. And trust me, if you take this course, if you understand this course, you can pass CISSP within a month. That's the guarantee I can give you. In my team, I'm not CISSP. In my team, there are CISSP people, and we 3 people who are in the team who are not CISSP certified, but we are the best in the team. And recently we had a director. He is also not CISSP, but he's very good at these fundamentals. So for some reason, my whole thing is, I wanted to go to another slide, but that's stuck somewhere. Oh man.
Probably you have to change the cursor from the pen to the cursor, I believe.
Maybe it is not the pen. Yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe you're right. Oh, okay. So that was the problem. Can you guys see my screen still?
Yes.
Okay. So I think adding a paper doesn't make any difference here, I guess. So maybe I will erase this and then go for a new one. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in this course, you said we'll be dealing with application security. So we'll be also discussing about three-tier architecture and security at each level. Or
Sorry, I can't
hear. I can't hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. You're good. Yeah.
Yeah. So you are saying that we'll be discussing about application security in this course. So how exactly are you going to discuss about application security? Will you discuss in three-tier architecture where we have website and application and then database? So just at the website.
I think if I understand, I couldn't hear the last part, clearly. But if I understand, correct me if I'm wrong. You are asking. Your question is, are we going to learn about application security? And if that is so, then are you going to teach about the end-to-end, meaning that N-tier architecture, or you are just going to cover the web? Is that the question?
Yeah, that is the question. Are we covering all the tiers or else just the top?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll note down that question. Yeah. Hold on. I'll note that. That's a very good question, actually. So N-tier, right? Okay. So again, let me finish what I had in mind, and so that I will finish the thing that I wanted to cover today. So how are we going to cover? I'll be covering this between 9 to 11. That is the time we have decided. Maybe we'll start from maybe Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or maybe Sunday and onwards, 5 days a week. And it's not 9 to 11. If I see that people don't understand, I'm passionate about teaching. It's not about this course and there is a job out there and you finish this course and go for the job. I have a real passion about security, and I wanted to share that passion with you. Along the lines, you have to be very, interested in this course, and go on asking me questions, throw me questions, and by that way, not only you but your fellow mates will also learn. And none of the questions are bogus questions. None of the questions are bad questions. Every question is good question, and trust me, I'll try to help you out, and I'll try to make you understand the nitty-gritty part of the whole security, from where you can take nuts and bolts and build your system and use those best practices when you're picking up those nuts and bolts. So that's how we will learn. And I have a slide deck, and this deck will be looking like something like this. And I'll be covering the security fundamentals, which will be, what is encryption, what is decryption, and what is hash. Trust me, even people don't know who are getting paid more than $90 an hour. They don't know what a hash means. Trust me, they don't know. I do interview day in, day out. And we have asked people that what is a hash, and they say that, okay, if you input a value through some code or some function, you get an output, and then we trick them and we ask them, hey, can you reverse this value and get me the clear text? And most of the people, they say that yes, you can get that value back, but hash is not that. Hash is a one-way function. Once you input a value from a clear text through the engine hash function, the output is a fixed length value, which you cannot reverse. Hash is different than encryption. So I'll teach you about these fundamentals, and that I have to do it through whiteboard, because whiteboard is the best way that I can teach. But along the lines, because you also have to remember the keywords. What are the things that ultimately you need a job, and you need to encash, or you need to get the worth, right? So ultimately, you need something to latch on to. So the fundamentals, I'll give you the fundamentals, but along with the lines, I'll also go through this. Like I'll give you like symmetric encryption. I'll cover asymmetric encryption. So when I cover symmetric encryption, I'll have these points. They use same key. They have encryption and decryption function. They have decryption, which is a reverse function of encryption, and the rest of the slide will be blank. And then I'll start drawing here. I'll start my drawing here. Sorry, just give me a second. So I'll start drawing here, and everything will be recorded for that session. And then I'll share that whole session with you so that you have your keywords that you need to remember, that you need to understand, and then you have your whole recording which explains about your keywords. So that is the way I really want to teach, because I'm more comfortable with a blackboard or whiteboard in this case, and going through the whole flow and making you understand. And in between you might have questions, and we will go back again and explain it all over again. 9 to 11 is the official time, but it doesn't stop at 11. If you guys still have doubt, we'll go through go through the fundamentals all over again. And people who have understood, they can drop out. And the people who have not understood, we can go. We can take another half an hour on the same thing and then make you understand again, right? So that is the way I want to do it. And also, because the reason why I said Java, because Java and .NET, they have very simple functions which we can call and do this kind of encryption. Okay, if after the encryption, what does it give out? Because if you don't see, if you are a third level support, you may not be able to help. So you have to have those kind of pictures. So that is the reason why I'll teach theory, and along with the theory, I'll also give you practical. So that you only with theory you can get a job, but if you know the practical, if you have seen the thing how it happens, it gives you more confidence. So for example, I have done a packet capture. Again, that is the same problem. Hold on, give me a second. So I have done a packet capture. So now this packet capture shows me everything, right? It shows me, okay, the client said client hello, and then server said server hello. But what does that mean? Why a client will say hello? What does client hello mean? What does it send to the server side? This is HTTPS protocol I'm talking about. So when a client, let me erase this whole thing because it might be obstructing you guys. Okay. So, when the client hello is there, what does the client hello mean? So client hello means that, okay, client is trying to talk to the server, but what it is sending to the server when it is talking to the server first time. So it is going to send the server these things, all these things it is going to send. But what does this thing signify? So I'll teach you theory. Along with that, I'll also teach you practical. So that, if you are a sysadmin, and you are having some problem between the client and server, which is established, which is has a SSL setup, and there is a problem, then you will be clear in your theory, and you'll be also clear in your practical, so that you alone single-handedly can deal with this. You don't have to go to somebody else to take their help. So you'll be master. You'll be respected in the group. So that's how. I know what is the value of the theory and the practical, which goes parallelly and along with it. So this is the way I'll be teaching. Tell me, guys, if you like this way, or you just need to learn the theory and not more on Java and .NET. Java and .NET is nothing. It's just it's just a helper for you to understand what is encryption, what is decryption, what is digital signature. We'll also generate keys using OpenSSL, and how do we generate keys? What is the standard we should be using? Okay, so we'll be covering all those things. Now, coming back to your question, do you guys have any question other than the entire question?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. So the first question is, I'm a data center architect. So this CISP, what you told, this is a part of networking, right? What background do you need?
Say it again.
So the security, what I understand is this is a part of networking, guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the networking world, so security is one part.
Mm-hmm.
So what background do I need to take this course? Like, do I need a server? Do I need a network? Do I need what kind of technology I need in data center?
In a data center, most of the data centers are connected through SSL secure network, or maybe the data center and outside are connected through the channels, which is IPsec. I can also go through the IPsec details, how IPsec is set up between 2 points. We can also go through the SSL. We can also go through the HSM. We can also go through how we generate keys and store in and how we store those keys. But this course will be, it's such a course that it will help you in network security protocols like IPsec, like SSL or TLS, because nobody uses SSL nowadays. It's the TLS 1.2 and higher. So, and then I'll be teaching you about, all these security protocols that we use, like PGP encryption for file to store file, to send email as encrypted email, we use SMIME. So those kind of things I'll be teaching. This will be augmenting your network skills, because network skills you only use with a plain network. You don't add a layer on top of that. And if you know security, you can add a layer on top of that. Also Kerberos, because Kerberos is one of the network authentication protocol. So we'll be learning about that too. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, so this majorly used for developers, or this is used for like a pure infrastructure guys?
No, this course is mainly used, this course is mainly catered for the people who will be, looking for application security assessment kind of job, applications, and from there, they can jump to application security architect job.
So right now, I don't build applications. Example, I work storage servers in data center, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're saying this is for application security. I don't build application. I don't know how they write the apps or how they write the applications.
So okay. Okay. I got your point. So
the same question for me too. So what I was saying is we have the infrastructure knowledge, Unix background, virtualization. Now I want to move into the security domain, right? I know from my past experience that CISSP will help a lot into get to the security domain. Just wondering if this course will help me, even though I am an infrastructure architect or a virtualization guy, to move into security domain.
Yes, it will help. Mainly if you are trying for CISSP, then it will definitely help you, which I recommend. And also, if you suppose CISSP, it will help in CISSP, and also it will help. Suppose this is the entire architecture question, and this will also help you. If you are a infrastructure guy, to move to this application security domain or skill set or the job, right? So this is suppose say your web browser, and this is your web server, and this is your app server, right? Just erase this. Hold on. So sorry, I'll just draw again. So this is your browser. This is your web server. This is your app server. And this is your database, right? Connection is coming from here to here to here, right? Now, if everything is good, that's fine. But if there is a bad guy sitting over here, how he can compromise the web server so that from web server he compromises web server, and from web server he jumps to app server, and then from app server he jumps to a database. Even he doesn't have to do all this jump. He can directly take make a request to web, and then web will make a request to app, and the database will respond with all the admin username password. So how does that happen? And so I'll teach you how this happens, and then I'll teach you how to prevent this. So even if you don't know, even if you are not a hardcore web developer, still you learn this, because there are few, so like maybe there are 20 points that you need to understand, and with that you'll be all set. You don't have people, the best is if you are from the best who get more than 120 130 per hour. But if people have also jumped from here, so suppose they are in infrastructure, right? So they jump from here and join here. They can as well take 90 and start from here and then grow from here. So that is the way that I'll try to teach you. I'll give you the fundamentals, because you need the fundamentals to go ahead, because that is the base on which you have to stand throughout your career. And also I will tell you how, because the ultimate goal is how do we save this whole application using encryption, using decryption, using keys, using PKI, using PGP, using file reversing process. So how do we save? The ultimate goal is how do we save the app which is interacting with the internet outside. So that is the aim of the whole course. So because you'll be building, as I said in the beginning, you'll be building a app from within the core, and you have to know the best practices to build this app. And because you are not building, the developers are building, they don't know anything about security, and you will be the guy, or you will be the person who will be teaching them, or who will be telling them how do you use this best practices to build a robust system. And that is, trust me, that is not that rocket science. It is very straightforward. It is a stepwise layout. But we have to start from somewhere, and that is the reason why I want to start from the atomic level. Okay, what is encryption? That is the most atomic level. Then what is decryption? That is another atomic level. So you will have a bag of all this atomic level, fundamentals within in your brain. Then you will have all the best practices within your brain, which I will also teach. Then you take this, then I'll also teach you the usability of encryption, the usability of decryption, the usability of digital signature. How do you do digital signature? So I'll teach you these fundamentals, and using those fundamentals, you can build a robust web app. But suppose you are not a web developer, so you don't know the intricacies of web development, you don't know the details of web development. Still, I will tell you, I'll break down this whole web tier into different layers. We'll build a trust zone here. We'll build all the trust zones, and I'll teach you why we need to not trust anything that is coming from outside, because this is a different trust zone. We cannot trust anything coming from this trust zone to this trust zone. Then how do we know, or how do we know that we have to consume this, or what do we do before we consume this? So there are not more than 20 points that you need to know, and we will go over that over and over again. And the first week I will cover all these fundamentals, 1.5 week. But the rest of the 2.5 weeks, we will pick up a web app, and we will start doing that. And there is a very good app that I have, which has all these weaknesses. So suppose there are SQL injection. If you have heard about SQL injection, so we'll pick up SQL injection, and we'll use this app to exploit that app. So how do you use SQL injection to exploit that? I'll take you through that whole journey. I'll travel with you in that whole journey, so that you know exactly what is SQL injection and how to prevent it. For example, like nobody knows, maybe some of you know already what is SQL injection. So SQL injection is a way that you exploit any kind of a code not a best practice that has been used on the web or the app layer. So what happens is when a user, let me erase this.
Gary, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think you would be getting into that, but just to understand the scope of the course, right? So you will start with the application security so that we get to know the fundamental or the starting point in the security, but you will be covering all the areas. I read somewhere the CISSP covers like the perimeter security, application security, infrastructure security, etc., etc., etc. Those all will be covered in the course. Is that the way it is? Because as I said, I have the background of the infrastructure or virtualization.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be directly jumping into an application security role. Rather, I will go to a security expert role or security analyst role, then specialized into application security. I think my understanding from our expectation from this course is I would be able to equipped with with that expertise required for a security analyst role. Is that or am I getting that correct, or how is that?
So when you say security analyst role, what is in your view is security analyst role though?
Well, when you say application security, right, then I am not an application developer, or I have no idea about an application.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm a little bit confused.
Okay. So I got that. Okay. I am in this industry for more than, as I said, I started in 2000, so more than almost 17 years I'm in this industry. And I know what people know when they join this kind of application security role. When somebody doesn't have the fundamentals, they tend to little bit they think about it. But with the fundamentals, you will get stronger. So and if I go to the course module, let's go to the course module and look at it. How we are going to cover this whole thing. So I will be teaching you about the cryptography, because as application security analyst, you will be also dealing with cryptography. So cryptography means that I can teach them in a very easy way, so that you only need this much to do your job, but that doesn't help in long run. That's my feeling. It will not help you in long run, meaning that you will be always thinking I'm missing something. That is the reason why I'll go through like the details of cryptography. So what is, we don't use days nowadays. We don't use triple days nowadays. We don't even use, MD5 nowadays, which is a hash algorithm. We don't use a lot of algorithms, but I'll still go through them because those are the fundamentals to cryptography. Then I'll jump to AES because that's what we are using in the industry right now. Then I'll talk about AES key length. But I will, give you a little bit fundamental about the cryptography. Go through like how does it, work at the bottom level, at the at the core level, and then I will jump to AES. You don't have to remember about days at all. You have to just remember about AES, and that will give you the job, and that you will be using also in the job. So coming back to PKI, public and private key, you will be requiring public and private key always in your throughout your career. Even if you are infrastructure, even if you are CISSP, even if you are doing application assessment, you need public key knowledge, public and private key knowledge, because that is the key to any cryptographic system, right? So that is there. Then I'll cover also security protocols standards like SSL. Infrastructure guys, data center guys, application assessment, anybody needs to know what is SSL, what is PGP. You may not need to know what is SMIME, you may not need to know what is IPsec, but you need to know SSL. at the minimum. You need to know PGP at the minimum because most of the file exchanges are being done using PGP. Some are being used as MIME, but mostly they use PGP. IPsec, you don't even need to know. Even experts in this area in application security with more than 10 years, they don't know about IPsec. Then we'll go to authentication. So what are the different forms of authentication? And I will just cover that is heavily used in industry. I'll not cover more than that. And that will give you fundamentals about what is authentication and how authentication is done and how does it look like, right? So again, the basic and the form-based network authentication Kerberos. This is also used by infrastructure guys. This is also used by data center guys. This is also used by application developers and application security guys. So Spinago and OAuth, they are also used by, not by the data center guys, but at least by the developers. So we'll go through that also. .NET Java, we may or may not cover that. We don't need to even. I just wanted to show you like how does it look like after we do a authentication. How does it look like underneath the request and response? Because you need to also sometimes you need to help somebody out of your way, and you need to know a little bit more so that you get real respect in the group. Then application as a service. Then we'll go through secure SDLC, how secure SDLC is designed, how the steps are laid out, and then we'll go through security around a web application. So we'll pick up a typical web application and we'll break it down. We'll do the authentication and we'll do authorization. We'll do auditing. We'll do logging and alerting. We'll learn about all this, bits and pieces about the web application, how it is done. Then if you know about OWASP, OWASP has, it has been there for last maybe 10 years. And they come up with a set of best practices. The SQL injection is there, cross-site scripting is there. So there are 10 top vulnerabilities, and we will cover those 10 top vulnerabilities. That is, a de facto kind of a standard in the industry. OWASP is a de facto standard in the industry. So we'll cover that also. And we will cover also what is the going around in the industry, how NIST is taken help, what is FFI EC, and what are the good standards. So we'll cover that also. Then also after that we'll do a sample lab. I have a module, and I have a application which is a web application, and we will go through that. We'll do an attack. We will see how where is the flaw in the code. We'll fix the code. We'll come back and redo the same attack. And that way you learn that, okay, this is the best way, to advise the developers. Developers, when they formulate a SQL query, so if there is a username password and they pick up the username right away from the form and, form, and then they create that SQL query using that username. But that is not the way one should be doing it. So there is an input validation and there is an output encoding. So there are set of 20 rules only you need to learn. And those are the 20 rules that they will ask you in the interview. Trust me, that is the only thing they will ask you. I can finish this course with giving you all the job related questions within 2 weeks, but that will not help you in long run. And I guarantee you, if you take this course, you can easily jump to application security, easily. That's the guarantee from my side.
Sir, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be covering all, I think roughly we have 8 types of attacks, right?
Sorry, I'm missing you. I can't hear you. Say it again.
Will we be covering all the attacks? We have roughly around 8 attacks, like man in the middle and SQL injection, DDoS. So will we be covering all the attacks?
Yes, we'll be covering all the attacks, all the web attacks. We'll be covering everything. But yeah, I know you might be having a little bit of interest in the other kind of module, which I will also show you. Hold on, give me a second.
And I also have a question because mostly customers now they're.
Sorry, if you don't mind, would you text the question? We can't hear at all.
Yeah. I think I heard you. So you are saying that will I be covering all kind of attacks, right?
Yeah, that was my question. And the second question is, since mostly customers are inclined to migrate to cloud nowadays, so AWS is already offering a service running good application firewall, WAF. So what advantage do we gain by learning this course?
Okay, so yeah, so this I have two modules. If you look at the screen, there are two modules. One is the defensive, another is offensive. So so defensive is more of a, I'll tell you SQL injection. I'll talk to you about cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, and I'll talk to you about all this kind of weaknesses that are found in web app. But what I will not be covering is, how does a outside bad guy try to compromise the system? That is offensive, right? So my defensive will tell you the best practices, and it will also teach you about SQL injection. How do you write a SQL statement, or how do you create a SQL query on the app side so that the bad guy cannot take advantage, but still the bad guy can do something, right? So that I will teach you in offensive security. But the defensive security will teach you about how do you create a very good app.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Okay. But that will cover all the SQL injection, cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery. It will call, and it will also cover about a lot of other weaknesses.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I got it.
You had a second question, right?
Yeah, my second question was, since we are talking a lot about security, will this course also involve talking a little bit about firewall and stuff? What kind of firewalls you have used? What kind of rules you have used on firewall?
No. Okay. So my course is completely on the layer 7. I'll not be covering any other layer. Maybe because SSL is between session and transport the session, so I'll cover SSL. But other than that, everything will be on application layer.
Only layer 7. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. In that, I will also cover, suppose there is a SQL injection and we cannot go and fix the code because the code, we don't have the source code. Suppose we don't have a source code. Then how do you, being a security analyst, how do you fix this? So there are defined set of atomic thing or nuts and bolts, and you have to. I'll teach you how do you pick up which one to solve your problem. So in this case, suppose you don't have a source code, but there is a SQL injection that can happen on your app. So how do you fix that? Okay, we'll use a web application firewall. So how do we use web application firewall? So web application firewall nowadays have been because F5 has their own appliance. It all started with Data Power, right, which is IBM product, and I happen to work in that also for 2 years. So it started with the Data Power as a web application firewall, and then F5 who have their own proxy and other things, they also tried to add this web application firewall. So we'll also learn about how does a web application firewall will help us. The more question you ask, the more you learn. But at the same time, whatever I have in my own bag, I'll just share it with you.
Yeah, got it.
So, Kari, I have a question on that. So for example, if a couple of my application in my company is moving to AWS, and if I am a security admin within my company, and for the applications moved to the AWS, if I need any security knowledge to manage the security is intact, whatever the firewall, will that knowledge I'll get from this course or not?
No, any firewall I will not cover those things in this course because I'm my whole course is only on layer 7, but I can cover some part of the cloud security. So I didn't had that in this plan, but I can cater that into this course. If
is that covered in your offensive class?
No, the firewall thing is also not covered in my offensive class. The offensive class also, because nowadays firewall is nothing. A firewall doesn't help in stopping any bad guys to get inside the network. All these people who are trying to get into, or who are getting into the network, they are all using the application layer. The weaknesses in the apps, like buffer overflows, or if there is any cross-site scripting, or there is any cross-site request for, is there any session management problem, is there any SSL problem? So they are taking advantage of this to get into the network. Firewall and other things are out of the security visual, or people don't see firewall as any more threat to or any kind of strong defense that will stop the bad guys to come in. The Experian thing, or the WannaCry, everything is at application layer or OS layer, but everything has happened through the application itself.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, does that answer my question?
Yes.
Okay. I think there are 8 more. There are 8 attendees, and I don't hear questions from any other people though.
This is Suja here. So I was listening to everyone. I am also from the infrastructure group, but I just moved to security team. It's been like 8 months. And I have, although security team, we have to assess the application design.
Oh, nice. Okay.
For any application within before it gets approved and deployed, the security team has to approve.
Nice.
And that's where I thought this class would be helpful.
This will be very helpful for you. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll also cover, because ultimately the end goal is doing a application assessment, and that's not the end. The end is you have to generate a report for the management, and I will also go through how do we create a report, and what should be in the report, and how does the template kind of thing. So I'll also cover that part too.
So at this time we have like ISC certification for the security. So there's a certain fields I have to fill for the application to make sure that is requiring everything for the security best practices. And so that's what, and I'm not, just because I've just got into it, sometimes I struggle to recommend what's the best, or even, okay, if you guys are not doing in this phase, then are you going to be implementing the SSL for SQL, or even encryption between the file share? Are those doing in next phase?
Exactly. So I will, Suja, that's a very good question actually. So I think a few more people are from the infrastructure. I think Sajid and a few other people. So this is a very good use case that Suja has infrastructure background, but she has moved to application security. But she is at the right place. There are some things that she needs to understand, and that's my main goal. I'll give you the nuts and bolts. I'll teach you fundamentals about this nuts and bolts, and what to use and how to use. And then I'll take all these fundamentals and throw them at an application, and then teach you how do you protect this whole application, entire application, end to end. That I will, just pick up a typical application. I'll just draw these boxes, and then we will draw the connections from one end to another end. Then we'll ask questions like, okay, there is a connection going from the browser to the web server, but the browser is sending SSN and then user date of birth. So how do we protect this? Because if there is somebody sitting in the middle, they can capture the packets and read the packets and get the SSN and the date of birth. But then how do we protect that? So we can say, okay, we can use SSL. No, SSL is out of is no more use. So we use SSL TLS 1.2 and above. So you suggest the development team go and use TLS 1.2 and above. But your job is also sometimes to verify that they are indeed using 1.2 and above. So how do you verify that? So then you have to tell them, hey, give me a packet capture and I can look at it and verify and sign off. So that is the reason why you need to understand the Wireshark. So and it's not difficult at all. If you have a inclination to learn and a mindset, I'm there to help you, and I can walk you through, and it will be very interesting, and I'll make it very easy for you to understand and get the most out of this course. And one more thing, coming back to SSL and certificate, I started my US job in 2004, and until 2006. I worked with Citi Corporate Banking. I don't know if any of you have worked there. And my job was there, nobody knew anything about how to generate a certificate, what a certificate stands for, and how does it look like, and what does it do, how does it help in SSL. Even today, where I work, even people don't have that kind of fundamentals. And if you have these kind of fundamentals, I can promise you, your job is, nobody can take away his job. You'll be there sitting and enjoying your place, and also getting respect, because people will tell you that that guy knows fundamentally inside out.
Thank you. There's another question I had. I know recently I've been, because of switching the job to security, I have to work a lot of compliance on NIST and HIPAA. Is that something you would be teaching? I don't know how.
Yes, I'll be covering that. Yeah, I will be covering that also, because I know that in this job you need to know those things too. Because I'll do as much as I can. Just let me go down on this same course. So here I'll be teaching you the standards. So these standards will cover like what encryption is what encryption standard is best, what is the PKI standard best, and also NIST, FFIEC, DFS, regulatory compliance, and also I'll teach you the organizational structure, because if you are moving from, suppose say infrastructure as an infrastructure guy to a security team, then you should know how the organization should look like, who is the head of security team, and who does what. So those kind of roles also I'll try to give you a background on that one too, and we will also cover most of the regulatory and compliance thing too. Does that help?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Any more questions, guys? But Bobby, I think you are not connected through phone. Sorry, go ahead.
That's a good for what Suja given. I think that's the right path to go ahead, I believe.
Yeah, that's a very good use case, and she has moved from infrastructure to security. I didn't hear anything from Matthew, Girish, Srikant. You guys have any question?
Sir, I was the one asking questions about multiple peers.
Sundara, okay.
Yeah.
So this is Srikant. I asked earlier questions, but till now, I don't feel any. See, I'm a data center architect, so I will be working more than 10 plus years. So why I need to move this now and learn this? Because this is, to me, I never learn application, because every day is changing, right? Tomorrow one guy comes in, builds applications. It is in trend for 2 years. After 3 years, one new application comes.
Mm-hmm.
So till now, I don't understand this is a core subject for security, because right now what I'm technology is core. Nobody can change it, right? So this application side, this application security is a core, or I'm using some tools here, or it's just a theory, or what we are using, what real tools we are using in this?
Okay. Good question. Yeah. So, you know, during my MS, I took one course which was actually, in fact, was taught by an Indian guy, and I asked him the same question. This question really reminds me of that question, and he told me that the fundamentals never change. The fundamentals always stay same. So if you have the fundamentals, you can build a layer on top of that, another layer on top of that, another layer on top of that. But everything is based out of fundamentals. So if you learn this fundamental, you can implement this in your data center. You can implement this as an infrastructure guy. You can implement this as an admin who is managing Apache or any other web server or app server. You can use this also to work as a application security analyst or architect. These are very core and fundamental security that I'll be teaching. Having said that, because this course is catered more towards application security, so I will be taking those fundamentals and implementing that through the application security. Also, the application layer is not going to change for sure. The TCP/IP stack is not going to change for soon. Maybe there will something come maybe 10 years down, 15 years down the road. But if TCP/IP stack changes, if a new stack comes in, then I think your job will be also at stake as that of mine, right? So having that same TCP/IP stack, this application layer on the TCP/IP stack is not going to change. That fundamental is going to stay same. Yeah, there is AngularJS, there is a Node.js, there is something coming up. There's some. You don't have to know those things. I'm telling you. You don't have to know Java. You don't have to know .NET. You don't have to know Node.js. You don't have to know JavaScript. You don't have to know those things. Those application development technologies, those language things, you don't have to know. But they have to communicate over the network. The network communication stays same. There is an IP, there is a port. This doesn't change. So sometimes it changes for the, suppose say WebSocket. WebSocket, there is a slight change because, UDP, there is a slight change from TCP. Same as WebSocket. It's because WebSocket is used for a different reason. It is not used to, transmit your sensitive data, because WebSocket cannot be secured. So if you send any sensitive data over WebSocket, anybody can spoof the data. Anybody can look at the data, right? So your spoofing, your tampering, your elevation of privilege, your denial of service, these things don't change. So if you learn these things, you can straight away move from your data center job to make. Trust me, you will make more on the application security side. And also, it's a more comfortable job. I don't do production support. I don't stay beyond 5 o'clock. Trust me, never. 9 to 5 means 9 to 5. I leave at 5. So, and there is not much pressure. I think Suja, you can help me out here if you have started working in application security. But sometimes,
That is correct. I think all this time I had too much on calls, partly because I switched to a government job, and also it's security, so it's not like you have to be available all the time. So obviously I have more family time. But I still need to learn the technology at this point because I'm still, I'm more comfortable in the infrastructure. So learning curve is there, but otherwise, there's more time for myself.
True, but I'll tell you, maybe Suja, this is perfect course for you, but for others also, I promise you, and it's not out of anything. I have a very strong passion about security, very strong passion about security, and I'm known in Citi. I have managed and maintained a Citi online banking app for more than 2 years. And when they asked me to join as a full time, I left the job because I wanted to make more money. And every day I get at least 10 calls. I get 15 requests in LinkedIn. from throughout the US, and there is more than 1.2 million jobs open. And trust me, I do job interview day in, day out, and still we don't have people to fill in the vacancies. Still we don't have. We had recently a very young guy who said that he likes to do the offensive kind of security, and I put him on the board. He couldn't tell me anything. He couldn't talk anything, but we still had to hire him because he was passionate about it. He has spent $2,000 from his own pocket and tried to take a course. So that is the reason why we went and offered him the job. So it is very niche job, respectable job. You don't have to, and most of the company people will envy you because you don't have to spend your weekends, and you have more family time and more comfortable job once you go through this course. And also, we're there to help, so that's there. Does that help?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Sir, I have a question.
One more question I had regarding the CISSP. I know you said you don't have a CSIP certification. So if I want to do a CISSP certification, is there someone who can? And I think there's a process where someone has to endorse before you can actually get your final certification, even if you pass.
Yeah. So that was another thing in my mind, that how do I know that teaching everything with a passion is a different thing, but how do I know that the person has really learned something? So I was thinking, I don't know, you guys give me feedback, because I see there are a lot of people here. You guys give me feedback, because I want you to learn the fundamentals. You can use the fundamentals anywhere you want in cloud security. Trust me, we have people as a cloud security architect, they don't know anything because they don't have the fundamentals. They just want to do the job. They have come from some other place, and not having the fundamentals. They don't know even how does encryption works. What are the intricacies, or what are the nuts and bolts inside the heart of encryption engine? So so therefore I wanted to have teach and then give out some questions. These questions you might face during your interview, you might face during you might have on your own, or even you might have missed the fundamentals. So these questions will help you to assess yourself. It's not, there is no grading system, there is nothing. So I'll after teaching everything for that day, I'll or maybe for that week, or maybe after completing a section, suppose I complete symmetric and asymmetric keys and encryption and decryption, then I send out a set of questions. So you guys answer those questions on your own. Then you come back and ask me questions, whichever or whatever doubt you have on those questions. Then we go back again on those questions, and then we learn more, right? So that way, I also know that you are learning, and my time is invested in a right way. And at the same time, I can vouch that okay, this guy or this person knows the fundamentals, and then I can go forward and also help you out in your CISSP too. Does that?
Sir, I have one question. Yeah, actually, have you ever been in a situation where even after following all the practices, there has been a breach where you have to answer, like, this is why it happened? It's like a hot seat, right? Even though you plan, since everything is man-made, it can be breakable. We can break it, right? Somewhere, we don't know what we don't know. And there might be a backdoor. Unless we know a test case which can test it and throw out the error, we never know what we don't know, right? So how to defend in situations like that, even after? Because the first thing, what happens after a breach is they'll come to a security guy or application security guy and ask them questions like, hey, can you explain what happened?
I can't hear you, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so if a breach happens, we are the first ones who will be questioned, right? So have you ever been in a situation like that where you had to answer?
No. So hold on. Oh, yeah, okay. Good question. during a breach, you'll be the first person to be asked about, what happened and all this. No. You'll not be the. That is the beauty of the job, though. 9 to 5, you're done. And you are not. You sign off on certain things, but you are not 100% responsible for what happened. You can build a system with a best practice, and you can give your input. You tried your best. You collectively, not you, the whole team, the whole organization tried their best to build a very robust and secure system, and they put it over the network. But it's not only that that system that is interacting with the outside world. There are a lot of other things that are acting together. Suppose, for example, you have app, and this app is based on Spinnago, which is a layer over Kerberos authentication. So suppose is HTTPS call, and there is a Spinnago negotiation being happen, and then the Spinnago token is attached, and then it goes in, right? And then authentication is done, then authorization is done, everything is done, and it goes in. But what happens if the OS is not patched? So as a bad guy, what I do, you have to understand how a bad guy works, right? What do they do? The first thing they do is, or the most time they invest is, trying to learn about the system. They spend quite a good amount of time to learn about the system from outside, because they know nothing about the system. You know everything about the system, but they don't know. Everything is in a black box to them. So they do a black box kind of attack. So they try to, over the time, they take months to learn about the system, because there is firewall, there is IPS, IDS, there are a lot of other things which prevent them to, understand about the system. So they go through all this, they take time, they learn about the system. Once they learn about completely about the system, then they try to find out, until they find out there is a weakness, they go on learning. They still, send packets, they get response. So once they know this weakness, and this patch is not applied, and there is a weakness for this patch, and Microsoft said that's what happened with Experian, right? There was a Java vulnerability, and this guy they didn't patch. So I can send packets to that system and get back a response saying that this system is built on Java this, and they are using struts, or they are using this, they are using that. I get back a whole survey recognition survey result back. So I collect this data. Then I say, oh, there is a Java patch has not been applied, and there is a vulnerability which I can exploit and elevate my privilege. So now it is not your problem, though. There was another application which was running, and there was no Java patch being applied. And suppose it is your application running, or the application that you have signed off is running on that OS, but the OS is not patched. Or maybe that there is another system which is not patched. Or there is maybe there is a plugin running from ArcSight plugin running to collect data, real-time data, that is not patched. So they look for all the weaknesses, and I'm sure with this course you will do your best out there. That will say that, okay, I did my best. Suppose there is your app has used a JavaScript, and JavaScript has a vulnerability that no one knows about, right? And this bad guy team only know about that JavaScript vulnerability. None other than them, they know about it, because every day the vulnerabilities and the exploits come out every day, and these bad guys, they make money from that. Therefore, they don't expose those things. Even if they know about it, they don't expose. But if a company knows about it, they work together, and then they try to patch, or they say, oh, there is a zero-day vulnerability, which is like immediate. You have to patch it, otherwise somebody can enter your network through that layer. So it is not you only. So there are a lot of other stakeholders who are also along with you are responsible. But the beauty of your part is you have a bag, or you have a couple of bags. Suppose you have a bag which has got all these fundamentals. You have a bag which has all these best practices. You have a bag which tells you about all the vulnerabilities available or out there. So you don't use you don't use SSL3. If you suggest somebody or use SSL3, then it is your problem. Your head of organization will come after you. But I'll tell you that, okay, don't use SSL3 because there is a heartbleed or there is some kind of vulnerability there. So go for TLS 1.2 and higher. Who knows? There is a TLS 1.2 is also exploitable. We don't know yet. But out in the market, TLS 1 and higher is the best practice to use those protocols. And you suggested that, okay, go for TLS 1.2. And after you suggested, the application went into production. Then after a couple of days, they come out saying that, oh, there is a vulnerability in TLS 1.2, and through your app it was exploited. You will not be responsible, because it is not your job to dig into TLS 1.2 and to find out those kind of vulnerabilities. If you can do that, you will not be taking this course, and you will be millionaire, I'm telling you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, sir. I was just wondering, I mean, what would we do even after taking all the best practices and best behaviors?
Okay. What do they do? And
Yeah.
I have been. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my doubt actually. How do we answer a question even after following all the best practices? If someone finds out a vulnerability or a hole, how do we answer? That was
Okay.
my
And
question.
also every company have their own set of rules, and they have own set of security requirements, and those are the standards that are published by the company itself. So if you join that team, application security team, they will have those standards already. So if you suggest use SSL, and then when you go back to your standard, you'll see that TLS 1. And higher to be suggested. So you'll not even suggest SSL3. So you'll be safe that way. And also, I've been dealing with this kind of situations, and sometimes we hit a wall, and if we see the damage is not much, we don't. If it is not affecting any user, if it is not affecting some other private information, then we just if it is only company between companies, we just keep it there. We still keep it investigation on, but that doesn't harm people.
Yeah, like a low priority. Okay, yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? I think somebody with the name of Bobby Alex. I see him on phone, but Bobby, are you still there? Matthew, do you want to? Do you have any question? Okay, guys. So do you have any suggestions, feedback, or or do you like this, or do you want to what are your thoughts around this course?
Yeah, this course seems very promising to me because we are going to go to cloud and everything will be in application layer 7 on application layer. So it seems very promising to me. But I would like to learn more.
Okay. Just for your FYI, Gires, I think everything is not, as far as I know, everything is not actually moving to cloud. So it's kind of a now, there is a hybrid kind of thing. So they are trying to keep something within the network and something outside the network. And also, I have been working on few of the cloud products, and there also the security is very, very complex. And also, cloud is I would not say that, but still, it's a kind of a buzzword. But if you break down the cloud, the whole cloud, everything again drills down to the fundamentals, right? So you cannot take out the TCP/IP stack from the cloud itself. But the reason why they call it cloud is you don't know where the request and response are interacting with each other. So
yes, sir, I completely agree. Cloud is also someone else's data center. We just don't see that.
yeah. True.
Yeah.
Matthew, are you still there? I don't see Matthew on the phone. So do you want to?
So after taking this course, so how is the market like a job? Like, is it a lot of positions, or we can go ahead and do it because we really don't have experience on this, right? So
I'll tell you. When I joined my first job, I didn't had that was in 2000 with a startup over at Canada. I didn't had experience in security. I had 6 months of I just finished my first semester, and I had only taken this data and network security. That was in 2000. This is almost 20. This is end of almost 2017. 17 years back. I mean ahead. So the market has changed, but it has changed for the good. 2000 there were very less. Security was the backbench. Nobody cared about security. But I joined with a security company, so we were doing a lot of work. But now every company needs a security person. There are two reasons why they need. One is there is a heavy demand that you got to fill these people and you got to work. So there is a heavy demand from the compliance and regulatory perspective. So you have to do certain things and complete that. So maybe that there are in a group, in a team, there are skilled people and there are not so much skilled people. I won't say there are they don't have skill, but not so much, or you can say junior people. But these senior people, they try to help these junior people, and then give them slowly, overload them slowly with a task. So they somewhat they handhold them, and also they also look for their initiative and their fundamentals. I would hire a person who knows what is a hash and how a hash works, because that's how he has learned. I know that he has learned, and if he knows, TLS even far better, because TLS is very complex to learn on own, and so therefore, if you learn these things, somebody will depend on you. They will give you the work, and you do the work. Not that I'm not, I cannot do 100% correct thing. And I don't expect anybody to do the 100% correct, right? So you'll do some on the way. You'll do some, less good work. So but then the senior guy will help you out. So that's what we have been planning in our team, because we don't get people. And we had a person after interviewing for 3 months, and he left. So what do you do? Because he went out for a full-time opportunity, because he had other situations which he had to take care of. So he left the contracting job, which was paying him more than $100. So he went for a full-time. So the market is really good now. People will give you a chance even if you have 20%, 30% knowledge, and you can get 20%, 30% knowledge on your own. I'm telling you, you'll get it on your own. If you try now, you'll get it on your own within a couple of months. But with this course, you can get it. You can get more than 50% security knowledge. That I can assure you, and you'll get hired.
Sir, and how likely would they take a person just with knowledge and no hands-on? I mean, I
sorry. I completely missed you. Sorry. Say it again.
Yeah, how likely would someone pick a person with conceptual knowledge but no hands-on? Because I personally had struggled in the past. So I was certified in
Okay.
certain things.
So okay. So if I repeat your question is how likely that a person will get hired if he has conceptually theoretical knowledge or conceptual knowledge and not hands-on, right?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, how will they pick? I mean, if they're picking a resume, how will they pick? If someone doesn't have hands-on, would they even pick their resume? Okay, we have something to say.
Okay.
It's waste of time, right? If you pick someone who doesn't have hands-on, but just mention in his resume that he knows something.
Okay. Okay. So your question is, you have conceptual or you have fundamentals, but you don't have hands-on. And the second is, how do you cater your resume so that you get noticed and you are picked, right, for the interview? Is that
Yeah, that's what my question.
Okay.
How will someone pick my resume just by if I mention that I just
Okay, I'll give you a simple answer. So the simple answer is, you do one thing, and you can and I'm not saying that you do it throughout, but just to test yourself. What you can do is, and you can get the reciprocation, and you can understand yourself. Go and change your LinkedIn skill and put one or two skills as cryptography and SSL and encryption and all this, and then see the response. You don't put any skill because you don't have any industry hands-on skill, but you have the knowledge. Just put that you have knowledge in this, and you'll see the response.
Okay, yeah. I might give it a try.
Yeah, give it a try. Give it a try. You'll see the response.
Yeah, sure.
I'm telling you, there is a protocol as Kerberos, and I'm the only person who knows about Kerberos in the company. And if you put Kerberos in your resume or as a skill that you have learned about Kerberos, then you'll get right away a response in the LinkedIn.
Yeah, okay, sir. Okay. Yeah, because personally my experience was previously I ELP certificates on my own interest, but
sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, my past experience was even though we are certified, they turned down offer because we don't have hands-on. That was my experience. I was just trying to find an answer from
Okay.
past answer saying, yeah, you will still get notice even though we don't have.
Your resume will get more visibility, and people don't have knowledge and they are getting into the job. If you have knowledge, you'll definitely find a job.
Yeah, got it.
Bobby and Matthew, Matthew I think dropped out. Yeah, okay. I think to Bobby. I'm asking Bobby if he has any question. It's a very good field to be, and if you understand, these fundamentals will also teach you how do they do your blockchain. You can easily understand blockchain, and I know that people who don't have this kind of fundamentals, they don't understand what is blockchain. So those kind of things, this kind of things will help you there too. So it will not only help you in application security, but it will also help you in other technologies which will be using mostly the cryptography. A ransomware is another thing that you will also learn. How do they create this ransomware, and what do they do? So those kind of things. So
Carrie, this is Sajid. I have a question.
mm-hmm.
So, do we have a lab setup where we can practice in this course?
No, for this course, I think I didn't expect to have a lab, because the primary skill set that is required is know those nuts and bolts, know the best practice, know the set of vulnerabilities that are popular in the market, and how do you solve those problems. Those are the things you need to know, and the regulatory and standards and compliance, those things. But other than that, you don't need anything. You don't even need to write a Java program, no scripting, no .NET. You don't need to. But I'm trying to go above and beyond to give a picture to the theory. Okay, you learned this, but how does it look in real life? Because if you go to a developer and then the developer shows you a file, say that, hey, the file looks like this, and you say, what is that? I've not seen this before. But if you have, what if you have seen that kind of file before? So you pick up right away. Oh, I know this theory and I know the practical part of also. You become more confident, and that's how you can you'll shine in your group.
Okay, got you.
I'll be also giving out the VMware, one VMware with a vulnerable web app. We'll go through that whole web app. At the same time, I'll give that VMware at the end of the course so that you guys can, try on your own, and what to do there and how to fix the thing and everything.
Yeah, I think I am interested in this course, Gary. When would be the next class?
The next class will start after a week. So maybe we'll start on Sunday, as I said in the beginning. Maybe we'll start on Sunday, or we'll start on Monday.
Okay.
Mostly, I'm thinking to start on Sunday, but it will we'll take it from the next week. So maybe from the first or second, yeah.
So, may I know the end date of the course, and do we have any timeline as of now where we can say this might be the last day of the class?
End date of this course?
Yes, sir. If we start course next week, may I know what would be the end date?
Yeah, we'll start the course on first, and it'll go for 5 weeks, 5 days a week, and for 4 weeks.
For 4 weeks. So most likely will be done by October 20.
Yeah, end of month. Yeah. Yeah. But every day we will be covering for 2 hours. But as I said in the beginning, I don't want to fix that hours. I like you guys to learn the fundamentals, because that is the key to success, and it will also help you on a long haul. So the more clear you are on the fundamentals, the better it is. We will learn. There are there is a cryptanalysis. How do you do cryptanalysis? I had this FBI page. There are people know what is encryption, but people don't know what is steganography. So these things are steganography. So if I scroll down on this page, sorry, you see this? This is one of the unsolved mystery from FBI. So, but what is this? This is kind of a written script on the paper, but and written by a high school dropout. But still, FBI, not only FBI, the top cryptanalysts in US, they couldn't solve this problem. So it is still outstanding FBI case. But what is this? How did he come up with all this thing? So we will also pick up some stories and try to make this more interesting. I want to build you as a as a full security person, and make you make this course more interesting, so that you become more interested in the course. So once you become more interested in the course, you will fly on your own. Nobody has to hold your hand, and that is the way I want to teach, and that is the way I want to help you out. Any more questions, guys? So hope I answered everyone's question. Sajid, do you have any question? I think I see your phone on.
No, I'm good. I just want to say that. Thanks a lot.
So practicals, are they also included in the class schedule, or are they separate? Do we meet separately if we have any labs, homework that you said?
Gary, sorry, are you asking is the practical during the class, or do I give out something?
Yeah, do you give out questions and we solve them and come back to the doubts, or do we meet?
No. In your job, nobody will ask you to write an encryption function. Nobody will ask you to pick up Java or pick up .NET and write something. That is not what you do in application security. So Suja knows about it. So the role you'll be doing is, again, fundamentals and best practices, regulatory compliance, and following the standards and policies that the corporate has defined. That's what you'll be doing. But the reason why I want to teach you and show you how, okay, there is a file, right? And I put that through PGP encryption. So what? What happens after that? Why others cannot read? So what happens if this file travels from Unix to Windows to Unix to mainframe? Will it get through the whole channel, or will it pass through everything? Will it go from Unix to Windows to mainframe, or will it fail? And if it will go through, how? If it will fail, why? So because those are the things that even I'll tell you, not CISSP, they can get 10 certificates on CISSP, but still they wouldn't understand these fundamentals, because these are pure hands-on thing. And if you have these things in your pocket, which are also theory, you will always win. You will always win. So the practical part of it is just to make you more confident, to make you more shine in the team, to make you more reliable in the team. But without that, you can survive. You can do really well with the fundamentals and with best practices, with other things. You can do really good, and people are really making good money with those things. Even without that, they are making good money. So because they don't know what is hash, because if somebody says, yeah, you can reverse hash, which is not possible, then they don't know what is hash, but still they have job. So with all the fundamentals, with practical, you'll be the one to go to guy. So that kind of thing. So that's the reason why I'll be teaching practical, but I'll not be giving you out practical to do it on yourself.
Yeah, got it, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, out of, I think, 8 joined in the beginning, 9 or 10. Yeah, 10 people joined. It's a very big class. Oh, I see more people joined. Yeah, okay. So, but now I think we have 9 people. Okay. Okay, guys. So if you have no more questions, then I hope you all enjoyed the discussion as me. And thanks for asking those questions. And the more question you ask during our session, the better it is. It will help me, to understand what you are thinking and how you are thinking, and then I can help you out. Make the process very easy, and so that you don't have to. Will not struggle in this class. We'll take it very. We'll enjoy the class. That's what I can say.
Yeah, so this course seems really interesting. Thank you so much for being all you I really
Okay.
enjoyed it.
Okay.
Thank you, Kari.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys. So see you next week, and the course is $14.99. Just to let you guys know, and hopefully I will see everyone in the class, and we'll make it very interesting, and we will not only cater this to the job, but we will go above and beyond, and also we'll talk about how we can help you out also in your future path. Thank you, and have a good night, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you.